Prop firms have been changing rapidly over the past few years, and you need to keep up with the changes that are happening. The way that I was trading them in 2021 and 2022 in particular are no longer ways to trade them in 2025. So what am I doing to change in my trading, my strategy, my risk management to actually allow for these changes that have come into the industry? That is what I'm going to cover in today's video. I'm going to start with the risk management aspect of prop firms. You guys will know, if you have been a subscriber on the channel for many years now, that I usually was trading prop firms with high risk on the majority of my trades. So let's say to pass a challenge, I was using 3, 4, sometimes 4.5% risk to pass a challenge and pass phase 2 as well. And there was a simple reason behind this. It wasn't that I love gambling or I love over leveraging. The reason was I knew that on a demo phase, which is phase 1 and phase 2, you're not getting any money. So I'm making profit for free if I'm risking 1% or 0.5%, and I'm then trading that account for weeks or months with getting no money back. So I was trading, increased risk. Okay, I might fail a few because that is obviously going to happen with that kind of risk. I was getting payouts, so it's covering all of the failed challenge fees, plus giving me profit overall at the end. But prop firms nowadays, they are very, very strict with their risk management. A lot of firms, majority of the large firms in the industry now, they're capping it at 1% or 1.5%, some even 2% risk per trade or per trade idea, they're calling it, which basically means if you risk more than 2%, they'll either limit you down to 1%, they'll put you in lower leverage accounts, or they'll simply just ban your account. It's very simple what they're trying to do. They don't want people passing quickly, they want people to pass with normal trades, because as a prop firm owner, they're obviously thinking the more trades that the average trader is taking on an account and the longer they actually have to trade time-wise, the higher the likelihood that they're going to fail that account and then purchase another one in the future. Whereas if they're able to go from phase to phase to then the funded account very, very quickly, the likelihood of them getting a payout is much higher, and they don't want that. So they are limiting the amount of risk you're actually able to take to pass their challenges and also receive a payout. So what have I done to change my trading in this way? Well, it is very simple. I'm still risking 1 to 1.5% on the challenge phases. You would have seen it in previous videos on my channel over the past few weeks or so. But when it gets to the funded stage, I've now changed my approach. I'm only going to be risking 0.25 to 0.5%. And the reason behind this is that I'm actually getting these profits. So it is in my best interest to keep this account for as long as possible, but just withdraw consistently from this account. And this does bring us on to our next point quite nicely, and they kind of merge together. And this is focusing on small yet consistent payouts. So right now on my account, my funded account, the video you guys will see later this week, I'm currently sitting at around 2.5% profit on the account. And on a $100,000 account, this is around $2,000 to $2,500. This might not seem a lot because after the split, I'm only maybe getting £1,300 to £1,500. But the way you need to think about this is that your challenge fee is then paid for, so you've made profit. And let's say you've made an extra £1,000 on top of that. So now any trades I take in the future, I'm now making completely risk-free. And if I make any profits, I get 80% of that. Imagine having an account where if you lose money, it doesn't come out of your personal net worth or your personal bank account. It comes out of someone else's. But if you win, you get 80% of it. I'm going to want to keep that account and keep that going for as long as possible. Whereas in the past, you could risk more to pass quickly and you were kind of able to do that. But with the account I'm actually currently using, you had to do a minimum of 5 trading days and you couldn't use the 0.01 lot size. So what I had to do is trade for a minimum of 5 days. I couldn't do my normal approach on various other firms where I'd make profit and then just wait for the payout and not take any trades. I wasn't able to do this. So what I wanted to do was give myself the best chances of success possible to get a payout. And the only way that I found viable of doing this was to trade with very, very small size. So my average loss is around 0.5%, but my average win is around 0.8, 0.9%. And this basically meant that I was able to trade for 5 days, make that 2%, let's say, and then wait for the payout. And my payout is in, next week, a few days time. So hopefully all is well. And I can continue the process and get even more payouts. But when you're risking 0.25%, you have 40 trades that you can actually lose before you blow the account. So the likelihood of that happening without having any winners to make up for the losing streaks. It doesn't really make sense that you're going to ever lose an account with low risk. And this is what I would advise for most people that are getting into prop firms, especially with the changing environments for actually trading them. I'm talking about getting consistent payouts. The next point is to not go anywhere near the rules. And when I'm saying anywhere near the rules, do not even give them an option to say you are breaking this rule. You need to be certain the style you are trading, the way you are trading, the risk you are using is not going to give them any reason for you to fail and reject your payout. You don't even want to be risking anywhere near their risk limits. You don't want to go anywhere near the drawdown. You don't want to go anywhere near trading around news times, because sometimes these prop firms can manipulate things slightly. And you do not want to be caught by the manipulation and then get a rejected payout. Because getting a rejected payout means that all of the work you put in beforehand, before that funded account, is then worthless. And you're not getting paid for any of the time and effort you actually put into that account. So my advice, I've done it in the past where I've gone quite close to the rules, especially the drawdown and the news rules. And I have had it in the past where certain firms have dropped my payout size. I remember quite notably once I had a $12,000 payout and they reduced it to, I think, $5,000 or $6,000 because I traded on a news event. And I'm not sure most firms will be that kind to you to actually reduce your payout and let you keep the account if you do break a rule. But I did get quite fortunate in that circumstance, and it meant that I could continue trading on that account. But I'm not advising you to go anywhere near the rules, because it could have gone the opposite way and I could have had that account breached and had to start from stage one all over again, which I would never want any of you guys to experience. And speaking about going near the rules and getting consistent payouts, you're only really going to get these things and then still get payouts if you're choosing a top firm in the industry. What would happen a few years ago, and I was doing this as well, people would be buying challenges from firms that had basically just set up last week. The way I used to see it was that a new firm was set up, they'd charge £100, £150 for a 100k challenge, and they didn't have any solid reputation because they had basically just set up. They didn't have any proof of payouts, but it was very, very cheap. So I knew in the back of my mind, if I pass this and get a payout, that is a great, great outcome. But if they don't pay me, they shut down, worst case scenario, I've lost £150. But if you judge that based on the payouts I've actually received over the past few years, in the six figures, some firms even 50k plus just from one firm, £150 isn't really going to discourage me from trading with other firms. It's kind of a risk you could take back then. Okay, I'm going to take this risk, I'm going to trade with this firm, just give it a go. Worst case scenario, I lose 100 quid. That's kind of really the only way you can have that outcome be bad. But on the other side, you could have got a payout. But now I'd say completely avoid those firms and only go with the most reputable firms, especially if trading is not your main full income or you have other incomes that is providing you with a lot of disposable income. If you don't have disposable income that you are ready to risk on challenges, then you should just stick with the top firms. I'm not going to give you firms because I don't want to give them free promo. But you can see the other videos I've made and the prop firms I've actually had the most frequent payouts from, and you can kind of judge from that yourself. Don't go off what people are saying online. Check reviews. Reviews are a very, very good way to see prop firms are paying, and check people that are getting consistent payouts rather than just one payout and then you never really see another payout from that firm. Check if people are getting consistent payouts, and that is kind of a good gauge whether you can tell if a firm is good or not. If they're a good firm, people will be getting consistent payouts without any issues. If people are getting one or two payouts and then they're having issues because the firm isn't liking paying out one person because they're kind of rinsing the firm, then you might want to stay well away from that firm. But definitely be careful with the ones you are picking, and I'm going to pick ones that do have a good reputation. I usually pick firms based on word of mouth. I am obviously in a position where I can speak to multiple traders in the industry, and usually the top prop firm traders. So I can quite quickly see the issues that they're having, why they pick certain firms, and I obviously relay that info to you guys too. As you guys know, if I stick to the rules and I get a payout from a firm, it is a good sign that you might also have the same experience and get a payout from that firm. But I'm not linked with any firm or paid by any firms, so do not take my recommendation as advice, let's just say that. And the last bit I'm doing this year is I'm never going to merge accounts, even if I have a max allocation with that company. Before, what I would do is I'd aim for a 100k account, then I go for another 100k account. Then my aim was to merge these accounts. The majority of firms in the industry have a max allocation of 400K or 600K, which then can be scaled up to multi-seven figures. But the way I'm trading my accounts, I trade them differently. So I'll trade one account this week and then I make profit and wait for the payout. And if I'm waiting 2 weeks for the payout, I won't trade that account again. I'll then switch to the next account, trade that until I've got a payout pending, wait 2 weeks for that one, and then go back to another account. This is kind of the way I have it set up. Whereas if you are trading with just one account, if you do have drawdown, you're then in drawdown on all of the accounts because you have them combined, or maybe you have them on a trade copier. I want to rotate accounts. I want to have profits pending and ready to pay out that maybe would cover my losses on another account. And obviously because you don't actually have to pay out the losses because it's not your real money, it means that you can technically be losing that month, but you're actually getting paid and money is going to your bank, which is the best way you want to have your prop firm trading. You want to be able to win or lose for that month and you're still getting money into your bank. That is the ideal situation. And that is one that I'm hopefully going to film and post and kind of talk you guys through on the prop firm series videos that I'm actually doing on my channel, going through the phases, going through the funded accounts, and hopefully filming lots of payouts for you guys too. So let me know in the comments which prop firm challenges you are taking in 2025, because I'm very, very interested to see whether you guys are going for maybe 10K accounts, 50K accounts, or 200K accounts. Let me know in the comments because I do want to know. It is quite interesting for me to see what the people in the industry are doing and what my viewers are also doing. So be sure to leave that in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next time, hopefully for a payout.